Good evening, everyone. Today I have class 10th uh, Mineral and Energy Resource chapters. I have 17 question MCQ. Let's start it to discussion. First question is given here. Which mineral is known as the basic mineral for iron and steel industry? Option is given: copper, iron ore, mica, limestone. Answer will be answer will be B. Answer will be B. That is iron and iron ore. That is iron ore. Answer will be B. Next question is given here. Next question given. 1 minute. Which type of rock contain minerals? Igneous rock, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks, all of these. Answer will be D. That is all of these. Answer will be D. That is all of these. Okay. Now moving on the another question. Question number 3. Which mineral is mainly used in electrical and electronic industry? Electrical and electrical industry. That is, option is given: copper, limestone, manganese, bauxite. Copper, limestone, manganese, bauxite. Answer will be A. That is copper. That is copper. Now moving on the question number 4th. Let's move. Which state is major produce of bauxite in India? Which state is major produce bauxite of India? Option is Odisha, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. Answer will be A. That is Odisha. Odisha bauxite. Okay. Now moving on the question number 5. Which mineral used to manufacture aluminium? Which mineral used to manufacture aluminium? Option is given: mica, bauxite, manganese, copper. Mica, bauxite, manganese, copper. Answer will be B. That is answer bauxite. Now moving on the question number 6. What is given? Which mineral is used in the production of steel? Which mineral is used in the production of steel? Steel production. Option is manganese, mica, limestone and salt. Manganese, mica, limestone and answer will be A. That is manganese. That is manganese. Now moving on the question number 7. What is given? Which mineral is found mainly in the veins and oldest? Veins and oldest. Answer will be B. That is iron ore, copper, limestone and coal. That is B. Answer will be B. That is copper. Okay. Answer will be. Now moving on the question number 8. What is given here? Let's see. Which mineral is known for its excellent in salting properties? Option is given: mica, iron ore, bauxite and manganese. Mica, iron ore, bauxite and manganese. Answer will be A. That is mica. Now moving on the question number 9. What is given here? Which is the most important fossil fuel in India? Fossil fuel in India. Option is given: coal, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy. Answer will be A. That is coal. Coal is a fossil fuel. Okay. Now moving on the question number 10. Which coal has highest carbon content? Which coal has highest carbon content? Option is given: lignite, bituminous, anthracite, peat. Answer will be C. That is anthracite. That is anthracite. Now moving on the question number 11. Which coal is the mainly used for electricity general? Which coal is mainly used for electricity general? Option is given: thermal coal, peat coal, anthracite coal, lignite coal. Answer will be A. That is thermal coal. That is thermal coal. Now moving on the question number 12. What is given here? Question: which state has important coal deposit in the Damodar Valley? Damodar Valley. Option is given here: Jharkhand, Kerala, Gujarat, Punjab. Jharkhand, Kerala, Gujarat, Punjab. Answer is A, that is Jharkhand. Okay. Now moving on to question number 13. What is given here? Which petroleum producing area is located in Assam? Which petroleum production area is located in Assam? Option is given Digboy, then Bakro, Korba and Singorli. Answer will be A, that is Digboy. That is Digboy. Now moving on to question number 14. What is given? Which is a conventional source of energy? Which is conventional source of energy? Solar energy, wind energy, coal energy, tidal energy. Answer will be C, that is coal energy. What is given? Which is a conventional source of energy? That is coal energy. Now moving on to question number 15. What is given here? Which is a non-conventional source of energy? Which is a non-conventional source of energy? Coal, petroleum, natural gas, solar energy. Answer will be D, that is solar energy. That is solar energy. Now moving on to question number 16. Which energy source is obtained from the heat inside the earth? The heat inside the earth. Geothermal energy, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy. Answer will be A, that is geothermal energy. Now moving on to question number 17. What is given? Which state has great potential for solar energy? Great potential for solar. Rajasthan, Assam, Kerala and West Bengal. Answer will be A, that is Rajasthan. That is Rajasthan. Now moving on to question number 18. What is given? 18 is given. Which energy is produced by using the moment of ocean tide? The moment of ocean tide. Geothermal energy, tidal energy, solar energy, biomass energy. Answer will be B, that is tidal energy. That is tidal energy. Okay. Now moving on to question number 19. Which gas is considered a cleaner fossil fuel? Cleaner fossil fuel. Coal, natural gas, lignite, peat. Coal, natural gas, lignite, peat. Answer will be B, that is natural gas. Now moving on to question number 20. What is given? Why should mineral be conserved? Why should mineral be conserved? They are unlimited, they are renewable, they are finite and non-renewable, they are easily produced. Answer will be C, that is they are finite and non-renewable. They are finite and non-renewable. Now moving on to question number, and here is given iron ore is steel industry, bauxite is aluminium industry, and manganese is steel making, mica is electrical industry, and coal is. Okay. Now moving to question number 21. What is given? Which of the following is a mineral? Which of the following is a mineral? Which of the following is a mineral? Answer: water, iron ore, wood, soil. Answer will be B, that is iron ore. That is iron ore. Now moving on to question number 22. What is given? Which mineral are generally found in which type of rock? Which mineral generally found in which type of rock? Option is igneous, metamorphics and sedimentaries, all of these. Answer will be D, that is all of these. Now moving on to question number 27. Minerals are classified mainly into how many broad groups? Minerals are classified mainly into how many broad groups? If you see option 2, option 3 and option 4 and option 5, answer will be A, that is 2 type. That is 2 type. Okay. Now moving on to question number 25. Which one is a metallic mineral? Which one is a metallic mineral? Which one is a metallic mineral? If you see mica, limestone, iron ore and salt, answer will be C, that is iron ore. Now moving on to question number 25. Which one is a non-metallic mineral? Which one is a non-metallic mineral. Option copper, A, B is iron, and C is manganese, and D is mica. Answer will be D. Mica is a non-metallic mineral. Now moving on the question number 29. Which mineral is the basic raw material for the iron and steel industry? If you see the option, bauxite, iron ore, mica, limestone. Answer will be B, that is bauxite. Now moving on the question number 27. Which is a ferrous mineral? Which is a ferrous mineral? If you see the which is a ferrous mineral, iron ore, mica, limestone, bauxite. Answer will be A, iron ore is a ferrous mineral. Now moving on the question number 29. Which mineral is used in the manufacture of steel? Which mineral is used in the manufacture of steel? If you see manganese, mica, copper, limestone, then answer will be A, that is manganese. That is manganese. Now moving on the question number 29. Which state is an important producer of iron ore? If you see Odisha, Punjab, Haryana, Kerala, answer will be A, that is Odisha. Odisha is important producer of iron ore. Now moving on the question number 30. The Veladilla hills are famous for which mineral? The Veladilla hills are famous for which mineral? Copper, iron ore, mica, bauxite. That is iron ore. That is iron ore. Now moving on to the question number 31. What is given? Which mineral is used for manufacturing aluminium? Which mineral used for manufacturing aluminium? Option A, manganese. Option B, bauxite. Option C, iron ore. Option D, mica. The answer will be B, bauxite. Answer will be B, bauxite. Now moving on to the question number 32. Which state is a major producer of bauxite? Which state is a major producer bauxite? Option A, Odisha, Punjab, Haryana, Assam. Answer is A, Odisha. Major producer bauxite is Odisha. Okay. Now moving on to the question number 33. Which mineral is an excellent conductor of electricity? Option is copper, limestone, mica, and bauxite. Then that is answer A, copper is answer. Okay. Now moving on to the question number 34. Copper is a mainly used industry. Copper is mainly used which industry? Electrical and electronic, textile, food processing, paper. That is A, electrical and electronic. Now moving on to the question number 35. Khetri mines are associated with which mineral? Khetri mine is associated with which mineral? Copper, iron ore, coal, mica. That is copper. Okay, that is copper. Now moving on to the question number 36. Which mineral has excellent insulting properties? Mica, copper, iron ore, manganese. That is mica. Answer will be A. Now moving on to the question number 37. Mica is widely used in which industry? Mica is widely used in which industry? Option is given A number, electrical and electronic, and cement, sugar, and textile. Answer will be electrical and electronic. Now moving to the question number 38. Which mineral is the basic raw material for the cement industry? Which mineral is basic raw material for the cement? Limestone, copper, mica, iron ore. That is limestone. That is limestone. Now moving on to the question number 39. Which mineral is commonly found in sedimentary rock? Which mineral is commonly found in sedimentary rock? Limestone, copper, gold, mica. Answer will be A, that is limestone. Okay. Now moving on to the question number 40. Which mineral is important for the chemical and cement industry? Chemical and cement industry. Limestone, copper, manganese, iron ore. That is limestone. Answer is A. Now moving on to the question number 41. Which mineral, which is the most important fossil fuel in India, fossil fuel in India. That is given coal, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy. That is answer A, coal. Now moving on the question number 42. Which type of coal has the highest carbon content? That is lignite, bituminous, anthracite and peat. That is anthracite. That is anthracite. Now moving on the question number 43. Which type of coal is commonly used for commercial purpose? Commonly used for commercial purpose. Bituminous, peat, anthracite, wood. That is bituminous. That is bituminous. Now moving on the question number 45. Lignite is also known as a dash. Lignite is also known as a dash. Black coal, brown coal, white coal, red coal. That is brown coal. That is brown coal. Now moving on the question number 45. Which of coal field is located in Jharkhand? Which of coal field located in Jharkhand? Jaharia, Nevali, Digboi, Mumbai High. That is Jaharia. That is Jaharia coal is located in Jharkhand. Now moving on the question number 46. What is given? Petroleum is also known as a dash. Petroleum is also known as a dash. That is black gold, white gold, green gold, brown gold. That is black gold. Okay. Now moving on the question number 47. Which petroleum field is located in Assam? Which petroleum field is located in Assam? Okay. Let's see Digboi, Jaharia, Navial, Singali. That is Digboi. That is Digboi. Now moving on the question number 48. Mumbai High is famous for. Mumbai High is famous for coal, petroleum, iron ore, mica. That is petroleum. That is petroleum. Now moving on the question number 49. What is given? Which is a cleaner of fossil fuel? Which is the cleaner fossil fuel? Cleaner fossil fuel. Option is given coal, natural gas, lignite, peat. Answer will be B, natural gas. Now moving on the question number 50. Natural gas is mainly used. Natural gas is mainly used fuel and industrial raw material, building material, fertilizer only, food. Answer will be A, that is fuel and industrial raw material. Now moving on the question number 51. Electricity generated from coal is called dash. Electricity generated from coal is called dash. Hydro power, thermal power, solar power, tidal power. That is B, that is thermal power. That is thermal power. Now moving on the question number 52. Electricity generated from water is called dash. Electricity generated from water is called dash. Thermal power, hydro power, nuclear power, solar power. That is hydro power. That is Hydel power. Now moving on the question number 53. Which is a conventional source of energy? Which is a conventional source of energy? Option is given coal, solar energy, wind energy and tidal energy. Answer will be coal. Now moving to the question number 54. Which is a non-conventional source of energy? Which is a non-conventional source of energy? Coal, petroleum, solar energy, natural energy. The answer will be C, that is solar energy. Now moving on the question number. Bhakra Nanga project is associated with. Bhakra Nanga project associated with. Bhakra Nanga project associated with. Bhakra Nanga project associated with. The option is given Hydel power, nuclear power, solar power, wind power. That is Hydel power. That is Hydel. Now moving on the question number 56. Which source of energy is obtained from sunlight? Obtained from sunlight. Solar energy, thermal energy, Hydel energy, geothermal. That is solar energy. Now moving on the question number 57. Which state has the great potential for solar energy? Rajasthan, Assam, Kerala, Punjab. Answer is Rajasthan. Answer is Rajasthan. Now moving on the question number 58. Wind energy is generated by using of dash. Moving air, coal, petroleum only. Moving air. That is moving air. Now moving on the question number 59. Which state has important wind energy forms? Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Punjab and Assam. Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Punjab. That is Tamil Nadu. Answer will be A. Now moving on the question number 60. Energy obtained from ocean's tide is called solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy. That is tidal energy. Now moving on the question number 61. Energy obtained from the earth internal heat is called dash. The earth internal heat is called dash. That is geothermal energy, solar energy, wind energy, hydel energy. That is geothermal energy. Now moving on the question number 62. Biogas is mainly produced from animal and plant waste, iron ore, coal, petroleum. That is animal and plant waste. Now moving on the 60 question. Question number 63. Which energy source is considered inexhaustibility? Coal, petroleum, solar energy, natural energy. That is solar energy. Answer will be C. Now moving on the question number 64. Which of the following is a renewable source of energy? That is coal, petroleum, wind energy, natural energy. What will be the answer here? Answer will be wind energy. That's C. Okay. Now moving on the question number 65. Nuclear energy is produced from uranium, coal, mica, limestone. That is uranium. Now moving on the question number 66. Why should mineral be conserved? They are unlimited, they are non-renewable, they grow naturally every year, they are easily manufactured, they are non-renewable. Now moving to the question number 67. Which is the best way to conserve energy? That is waste electricity, use energy efficiently, leave light on, increase fuel consumption. That is use energy efficiently. Now moving on the question number 68. What is given? Which resource should be used careful because it takes millions of years to form? That is solar energy, and wind energy. That is coal is okay, million years take. Okay. Now moving the 69 question. Which of the following help reduce the dependency on fossil fuels? Renewable energy, more coal consumption, more petroleum use, more natural gas. That is renewable energy. Now moving the 70 question. The sustainable use of mineral means using mineral without planning, using mineral wisely and conserving them completely. That answer will be what is using mineral wisely and conserving them. So thank you for everyone for watching this video, and I will hope you will be support me and kindly subscribe my channels and kindly help me to forward me. Thank you once again. Thank you everyone.